am really, really grateful and honored to be here tonight, to be a part of raising support and funds and love around this project that is the Grief to Action Camp. You're in store. You've got a lot of great things coming tonight. So I don't want to do too much talking myself before we get to introducing you to the folks who have been making things happen and a lot of really incredible music throughout the night. But one thing I do want to tell you is that what we're here to do tonight is draw in what we have as power collectively, whether that is through, as I said, our love, whether that's through our resources, whether that's through our support. Tonight's event is really about pulling together power as people in order to bring this project that is Grief to Action to life. So thank you for whatever it took for you to be here tonight, whatever you had to put off or say no to in order to be present and support. We really appreciate you. For those of you who are joining us from bed, we appreciate you. Those of you who are joining us while eating dinner, we appreciate you. Those who brought your children here with you, we appreciate you. Who came through with the whole crew. I see a lot of you with friends and loved ones in your living rooms and your couches, at your desks, wherever you're tuning in from. We appreciate every bit of presence that you're bringing us tonight and all that support. So gratitude to you for being here. And y'all, there's been a really incredible effort to raise funds going on. So before we even start, I just want to tell you, and please feel free to come off mute and make a little bit of noise and celebration. Up to this moment so far, we have raised over $28,000 for the Grief to Action Camp, y'all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you to everyone who's been a part of those efforts so far. And we're going to raise some more tonight. You know what I mean? That's what we came to do. So we're going to raise some more. So thank you for everything that you've done and everything you will continue to do tonight. We have a couple of just housekeeping things to help us get all on the same page and settle in well. I'm going to pass it to Leah to say a few words about some of our Zoom logistics.
Sounds good. Thanks, BJ. Tonight we have live closed captioning. Thank you, Teresa Johnson. You can access that, turn it off and on. Should be a little option down at the bottom of your screen that says closed caption CC. Also, this event is being recorded. You can opt out of that by just clicking your camera off. And then just lastly, you have a little bit of control over the number of faces you see at once in your upper right-hand corner where it says view. You can switch from speaker mode to gallery mode, which will show you all your friends at once, whenever you want. Back to you, BJ.
Awesome. So we're here. We want to slowly start to take off on this journey. As I said, we've got a lot in store for you tonight, from music to panels to deep stories to moments to connect and just ask questions and learn a lot more about this project, as well as opt in to supporting through getting engaged on the land. I mean, we have a lot in store for you tonight. So we want to start off just with a beautiful introduction to the Grief to Action Camp through a video that features a couple of folks, Aaron and Porsha, and others. So I'm going to pass it. So look, Shauna, I think you've got our video for us. Whenever you're ready, just want to invite everybody to bring your attention to this video introducing us to Grief to Action Camp.
One of the questions that I asked myself in the George Floyd murder and that conversation was, where do we go to grieve?
I think what's significant here is that grief to action is specifically for people of the global majority, African heritage people, people that are really holding space for their grief that's generational and also current. And that's the priority. And we also want to make sure this is financially accessible.
There's one thing to grieve, it's another thing to have to pay to process your grief in a way that, to me, feels like it's just perpetuating white supremacy and oppression.
It's the only location I know in the United States where African heritage folks are owning the property, have control of the thought process, and that center natural building as a part of the grief experience.
Grief is something that is for a lifetime. It's going to be processing for a lifetime. And so the goal is to create community around it. What actions do we want to do to continue to reduce the oppressive structures that even bring this grief to begin with?
So there's two major pieces that we're raising money for. One is making sure we have infrastructure. So we're talking about, wells, agriculture infrastructure. In the second phase, we like to build what we call Earth 1 or Earth 2. You can go to calearth.org and look these up. Throughout the building of this process, you can see a lot of white folks showing up. We invited white folks. Often I say, 10 years from now, I don't want to see us in this workshop, just in this circle, processing our racism. I want to see us doing something, actually doing something. What we're seeing right now is the action.
When I think about our white allies in this work who are wanting to support the Grief to Action Camp, it is a level of not just activism in the sense of supporting BIPOC folks, but it's also deeply supporting the greater conversation of liberatory work in general. Because by you supporting this work, it's not just directly supporting the BIPOC folks that are here on the land. What it's also doing is helping you ground into the level of accountability, the level of commitment to this work that you're wanting to show up in. And that's not necessarily just pinpointed on how much money you can give. It's also pinpointed on what work are you doing as you're thinking about giving that money.
Beautiful. And to welcome you all here personally tonight, I'd love to invite Porsha and Aaron.
Thank you so much. Porsha, do you have a preference of going first or second?
You go right ahead, Aaron.
All right. Oh, I'm just going through the screen, seeing y'all's faces. A lot of y'all have held your hand. I've been in your homes, and some of y'all are brand new. Just want to honor you all just being here for us here in this project. I say often to stay creative while taking on the impossible, and this is a living, breathing version of that. It was clear that we were going to make Grief to Action, but it was not clear if we could actually create it. And I remember having a lot of fear around it. And one of the things that really opened me up is I remember when we first made a commitment to do it, and we were building out and visioning it, and it was right before the election of Biden and Trump, and I was maybe a week or two before. I'm trying to get fuzzy on that. And I remember some neighbors accused us of being on our own property, basically. They were unclear where our property line was, and they had 7 vehicles came on our property, and they threatened us. And I remember us, they called the police, and I'm actually glad they called the police when they came on our property. The police actually escorted them off of our property, which was a surprise to them, but I appreciate it. But I remember that moment that we've been in this location for 25 years, but until we said we want to make a Grief to Action camp, we want to start doing some good, sacred work. And I know the election and the culture, but I was like, it's amazing that we've been for 25 years and not have this kind of aggression. And we put the word out to you all, and we were able to raise enough money to fence in the majority of those 11 acres. And we've had a lot less, actually had no actual boundary crossing, but 100% less harassment from our community around us. And I just want to name, like, when we're doing this kind of work, the more we show up, the more we become a target of oppression. I just appreciate that a lot of you all have been backing us well before this fundraiser, well before we actually start assembling a team here. And I just want to name that I know that this work is sacred. And I know the more successful we get, the more we make space for it, the more oppression is going to target us. I just want to really appreciate the determination I'm seeing in this room. I know the flashpoints of elections and deaths on television can be a flashpoint, but a vast majority of folks I see on here have been constantly checking in and constantly backing this project. And that's something I'm really excited about here. And so as Grief to Action comes to place, it's a place for people of the global majority to come and grieve in natural environments, to be close to earth in a minimalist way. To me, that's something that I dreamed of. And now it's coming, it's happening. It is happening. It is happening right now. And I'll just say that, this year was a very tough year. We had 4 deaths since January 1st of this year. And I realized as I was like building Grief to Action and grieving at the same time, how critical this is for us. And critical is for folks to have a space to come and to be quiet, to meditate, to pray, to get close to the earth. And for me, this just feels a real space is happening. So I love the fact that we're building this fundraiser, but also love the fact that we're doing it despite all of the oppression around us. And I think a lot of locations this could happen at. I'm so glad it's happening in the high desert, in Victorville and Phelan. It's a small town. This is not a place where people would think we would show up for each other. And I appreciate y'all making that possible. And Grief to Action is a semi-mobile one. It's one name that we're building here in the high desert, but we hope to have a mobile section that goes around and goes to places where grief is happening, goes where the carnage is, and brings that support. So it's one name that we're birthing it, but we hope to have satellite movements of this too. So I just want to appreciate the amount of support we're getting. And I know we're just getting started. And I would say in closing here is that one of the things I'm sitting with is I remember my mom telling my grandpa Chandler, and she talked about a stone that he prayed on so much until his knee marks were indentured in that stone. And we ended up going to Oklahoma about 25 years ago and grabbing that stone and carrying it all the way back to the desert. And I never met my grandfather. He died well before I was even thought of, but I so appreciate how I look back on the choices he made to support my mother and the 13 kids that he had, and how much it shapes who I am. And so I imagine that this project, if we look back and your great-great-grandbabies go, what were you doing? They're gonna say, thank you for supporting this project. And I love that. I look back at my ancestors and say, thank you for the choices you made so I can breathe, I can take on the impossible and have faith that the impossible is now becoming normal. And I just want to say too, this is ungoogleable. What we're doing is ungoogleable. And because of what you're doing, it is now Googleable. So much love to you. Peace.
Yes, thank you for that, Aaron. Thank you for that. And Porsha, please feel free to welcome these folks.
It is so deeply, I'm just feeling it in my heart as I sit on the screen. And as Aaron said, seeing the people that I love and seeing people who I've built relationships with, and individuals who are brand new, but know that this work matters. I think in this moment, one of the things that I'm holding with Grief to Action are the ways in which what we're building is giving access to a whole nother level of healing intergenerationally. And that's something I want to just back in what Aaron was sharing, and understanding that this healing is not just for those who are currently living and currently here. And I was sitting with who has been, what has been true for me is desiring to just feel my ancestors, desiring to feel my ancestors and desiring to feel their guidance in these moments of taking on the Grief to Action. And as I sat with these conversations of what does it mean for me to really sit and honor my ancestors, I recognize that the Grief to Action is how I'm honoring them, by giving space and cultivating a sanctuary in which Black folks and people of color don't have to question the volume of their voice, and if handcuffs will be put on them because of it. A place where we can be able to pray not only for ourselves in the moment, but for our ancestors that are healing through us and healing generations coming after us. There's a place in my heart that I sit with a deep, deep understanding and conviction that through even having access to our very own land, what it means to be in a Black-owned space, to be able to be with the earth and to ground into that place in ways that I look back and see the healing that is still needed from decades of that same energy of nature and the land being used against us. But to reclaim that healing and to be in that healing is something that the Grief to Action I'm seeing as truly giving opportunity for. And I'm sitting with a lot of understanding in my heart and mind as I think about those who have recently passed, who has held these movements of grief. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that I understand that I'm writing on the movements and the social justice movements and the equality movements that have been coming way before I was even born or thought of. And I just want to make sure that right now as I speak, there are some that have not been born yet. I want to make sure they have something to write on. I want to make sure that they have something that they can ground in on when the days feel so dark, it's hard to lift your head off the pillow. And that they know that they are not doing it alone, and that they know that we are taking actions to make this movement a place where they can find that healing internally within community, with the earth, that all of those places are the ways in which they are grounding in to their healing. And so it is an honor for me as someone who has been a survivor and continuing to survive oppression to be able to be with others who are determined to fight for our liberation and our healing. And by doing so, fighting for the next generation, which has always been a deep, deep belief in my heart as a part of my purpose on this planet. So I want to thank and honor each and every single one of you for first and foremost opening your hearts to show love. One of the things, the theme that I saw in all these movements that came before me was that when I look at Sabonfu, when I look at Martin Luther King, when I look at Bell Hooks, when I look at Octavia Butler, when I look at these revolutionary, radical people who were trying to reach for a better life, it was centered in love. And so I want to thank you for reaching for love with me and centering a new way of how we define and what we're trying to cultivate, a new world that is grounded in seeing each other and loving each other and healing with each other. And for the next generations that we don't know their names yet. Thank you so much for being here. I can't say thank you enough.
Thank you both. Thank you both. And with that, we welcome all of you. The love is here. The love is all around us, and the love is coming as well. There's a lot of ways in which love has already been poured in. One way has been through the creativity and talent of some of our sponsors for the night. One of which, our first, is Naima Pennaman, who some folks know from Climbing Poetry. Naima is a freedom-forging futurist rooted in her ancestors' brilliance, a devotee of seeds, of soulful storytelling. She is a multidimensional artist, a movement builder, a medicine grower, healer, educator, co-founder of Wild Seed, program director at Soulfire up here in the Lenape lands, and a healing practitioner at Harriet's Apothecary. The creativity, the soul, the craft, the poetry that flows through this particular human being is so special. And we were blessed by Naima with this piece, with this video that we want to share with you right now.
comes before fruit. Love precedes a child. Someone was dreaming of you. With a womb full of water and seeds and stars, a drum skin stretched over a full moon. One heartbeat becomes two, one seed becomes 100. You are the result of countless love stories and unnumbered feats of overcoming. Can you hear your mother's mother's mother humming you to sleep while hiding out on escape routes to an implausible freedom you made her believe in? We are descendants of futurists who did not give up on the possibility at least one seed would survive. The endless tides of transatlantic crossing, auction blocks, monocrop cotton, razor-sharp sugar, the harvest of salt, the scalding sun, and burning crosses. Hidden propagation in forbidden gardens, generations of dehydration and bondage, summoning softness from the clouds. Our bodies are made of water and promise. Our mothers' did not give up on the possibility at least one seed would make its way through layers of cold, hard, rocky silt and sand and clay, and in the face of great danger, soften its shell, open its hull, extend a tender root, find water and food, trusting there is light somewhere enough to bloom. A flower comes before fruit. Love precedes a child. Someone was dreaming of you.
Beautiful. I want to invite y'all anytime you feel moved to just express that, whether it is in, oh, can we change the spotlight feature? Go back to our whole group view. That way we can see the community. I'm not sure who's got the spotlight going. Can we switch that up, y'all, back to no spotlight? Cool.
Yeah, you might have to do it on your screen.
Perfect. Thank you.
We're good.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just that what stuck to me in that piece was just that someone was dreaming of us, of this. And now we, in this moment, get to continue to live into that dream, that we get to be that dream, birthing a new dream. And yeah, moved by that piece. We have more videos and art and music in store for you the rest of the night. But anytime you feel moved, please feel free to express it either in the chat or on your screen. You can even make a little noise. I know I brought my shaker tonight. I'm ready to have a great time. So join me in that. And the vibe of this night really is a celebration. We know how manifestation works, right? We know that we celebrate it before it even arrives. So tonight is a celebration of what we're bringing to life. And we're going to do that through just a real good time. That's the vibe we're here to set tonight. And at different times, we're going to invite you, if you have the means to do so, if you're willing and able, we're going to invite you to donate. Because as I said, we are raising funds. So far, we've raised over $28,000. And we are here to raise more. We'll talk a little bit more later on about what those funds make possible. But we want to go ahead and just drop a link for you into the chat so you know throughout the night where you can go to donate. I want to thank you, Heath, for already doing that for me in the chat. We have a GoFundMe operating. We also have an option for folks who want to make tax deductible donations, you can private message Ale, who you'll see waving right there at you. You can private message right there in the chat, Ale, to make sure that you get instructions on how to make a tax deductible donation. We're in the process of becoming a tax deductible, a tax deductibling, I don't know, a 501c3, where we can give you that tax break. But that process is still underway. So message Ale for more instructions on how to get those donations deducted from your taxes in the meantime. And we're gonna do our first round of it. I think now, in these first few moments of us really getting settled in, we're gonna invite you to begin to donate. Paul, the name of the poet in that video, I see you in the chat, is Naima Pennaman. We've got Shireen dropping that into the chat for you. So we have some incredible sponsors, as I said, artists, poets. We've got one of my favorite artists on the planet tonight who donated a beautiful piece of artwork. This piece of art we want to gift to the very first person who donates $500 or more tonight. And we want to show you this piece of art here by dear friend, comrade, beloved, Mayree Shibuya. Mary's here with us tonight. I know you're out there somewhere in the hundreds of people who are here. Thank you. Mayree is also donating a mural to the project, which is huge. So if you want to take this piece of medicine, this piece of art home with you, go ahead, click that donation link, find your way to the GoFundMe, and make a donation. First person who donates over $500 tonight will be gifted with this beautiful piece. Yeah. And you can go ahead and pull that piece back now. Thank you for that. Again, follow that link to the GoFundMe or message Ale directly if you'd like a tax-deductible donation. And we have folks here who've not only contributed in terms of their art or music as sponsors, but we have folks here who've been deep in the work of bringing this project to life, some of whom are carrying stories of just how much this work means to them. The work of intergenerational, ancestral healing that which we've inherited. And we want to roll into a beautiful story by our relative Alillia. And that I'm passing. Yeah, there we go. Please enjoy.
I've got this fragment of a memory. I am not sure how old it might be. It feels scary to imagine a place safe enough to let this stuff be out, let it be open, let it be cracked open and healed. Because it's not just mine, but also my grandmother's and their grandmothers. And there hasn't been a place that was safe enough to break down and let these things come apart and be knitted back together.
I have a deep grief of my own, and watching, historically coming from an African heritage background, the ways in which oftentimes the safety to grieve is not accessible. The resources or the land to even have an opportunity to even think about visioning something on this level is not accessible. And so I carry this grief of noticing the way that carnage consumes those who do not have these type of resources and opportunities to process and heal ancestral, intergenerational, and systemic harms and hurts that have happened to them.
I've had places that wanted to be safe enough, places that claimed to be safe enough. But when I start to get into some distress, I'm asked to be quieter because the neighbors might call the cops, or to just keep it down a little bit, or okay, we have to stop now. So I don't really know what it is you speak of, but I'm hopeful for its existence.
I've also had inspiration in seeing my own healing through being able to go and grieve on the earth and see the ways that by being able to process my own healing, it's also giving access to me in ways that I seen my mother not have, that I witnessed my grandmothers not have, and my great grandmothers not have. And that gives me hope in a way that I can see so much potential for healing, not just on this land, but ripples that of generations that I might not even be alive to see could have access to healing because of the work that I'm doing today in my own grief.
I've got this fragment of a memory. I am not sure how old it might be.
I want to just invite you to notice your breath, notice what you're feeling in this moment, any sensations in your body. Take a breath. Take another breath and enjoy it. And extend some love for some of the core team and folks who've been bringing this project to life, who I'm going to welcome into a panel right now, including the beautiful voice we just heard, Alillia. Porsha, I want to welcome you as well back. Aaron, join us. Chelsea, Camille, and Bryce. I want to welcome each of you into this virtual circle with us, into this virtual panel, where we are going to hear a bit more from you. And thank you to Alillia and Porsha for your deep truth sharing in that video. So we've got spotlights setting up right now. Are y'all able to see a panel of folks in the middle of your screens quite yet? Cool, we're working on it. It's happening. Beautiful. It's such an incredible opportunity to get to show up for healing. It's just such an incredible opportunity to get to say yes to your healing. And this opportunity, Grief to Action Project, for me, is both of those. By showing up in support, I am saying yes to my own healing, and the existence of this project makes possible a kind of healing collectively that has not previously been possible. And I'm excited for us to get to know some of the folks bringing this to life on the panel that we're putting together. Selection, let me know.
I know.
Oh, no, there, babe.
think we're having some slight tech issues, but if you want to get started, I will try and figure it out on my end.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, we are in no rush. So let us know if there's any support that you need as we pull that together.
In the meantime, we could check out the GoFundMe page together, or maybe since Lex is working on that,
Yeah.
maybe Leah could give us an update.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that update, Leah.
Be happy to do that. We had some stuff come in, y'all. We were looking at 37,279.
What? Are you serious?
That's
Did you say 37? Is that what you said?
37.
Okay, I need a full tambourine. I can't. This ain't enough. What? Yo, already. Thank you for that. What a oh my gosh. Y'all make some noise for that. We've already jumped about 10,000. Ancestors are dancing. I also, there were a few more bits of information folks wanted to hear as well about that piece of art as well. Mayree, I know you're here with us, so if there's anything that you want to share a bit more about, I know you talked about the dimensions and the materials, so we also have a moment if you would just want to say a few words about that beautiful piece that folks who donate can take home. Are you out there?
I am, and thank you. And
What's
hello.
up, family?
Oh, hey, there I am. What's up, everybody? Oh my gosh. Yeah, y'all. I haven't actually met any of the folks involved in this project. I'm just so deeply moved and honored to be here with you, and honored to be like witnessing this deep, deep, powerful work that you're doing. And this work is very much the title is an offering. And so with the two intersecting circles in the center is a figure kind of offering to the present generation that contemplation of the past and the future, and the way that we're intersecting in this moment and communicating with others. So you see the hands kind of pouring out the water on the one side and offering up smoke on the other. And that like invitation to you to like engage with like natural healing happening inside your body and the way that ripples out. And this piece was not made by just me. It was actually a collaboration with another artist named Henry Luke in Seattle, who's an amazing muralist that I deeply respect. So we got to like jam out this at a community gathering this past summer. And yeah, it felt like the perfect thing to lay down for y'all. So,
Yes, beautiful.
yes, Henry is.
All right. Thank you. So it may have already happened. The first person to donate over $500 may have already done so, but if you haven't, now you've got a little bit more info on why you should. So go ahead, click that link and make that donation. Also, we'll follow up with a link to Mayree's page if you want to check out more artwork and more pieces that may be medicine for you as well. And here we have it, our panel. We've got Bryce here, Alillia, Aaron, Chelsea, Camille, and Porsha. Thank y'all for being willing to just bring the energy together and share more about not only this project, but what it really means for you. We got to hear a little bit from Aaron and from Porsha on that getting started, and we absolutely got to hear some of that powerfully in the video with Alillia as well. But I just want to start with a question for a few of you to also chime in on, which is, what does this project not only mean for you, but what do you feel that it makes possible in your life or in your experience that has not otherwise been possible? And I just want to open it up for anyone who feels called to answer that.
start a little bit. This project means everything in a sense. I think that there's two parts: it's grief to action. And what's important about the action piece is that we get to grieve, and that's really, really important. But there's also an action to back up to cause less grief. So if we're grieving about not having food in our community, so we have folks dying of heart attacks and different health challenges, that we grieve that, and then we build something like gardens, something to the action that follows up. If I'm grieving like SNAP, I haven't had transportation for a while, we're gonna be like almost grieving that, but I'm like, how can we get transportation under that person? How can we back that person? So for me, I just really appreciate the action piece. And so that to me is something I have seen in my life that's been life-saving for myself. And I think also I've never in my life been able to grieve or do any kind of work like this on land that was controlled by people of the global majority or by African heritage folks. Oftentimes we're renting, spending $1,000 trying to do something on someone else's property, and then we finally get it done. So I just want to honor like that. That to me is really critical, and what it means to me to be able to, and it's something our ancestors helped us get. We couldn't have gotten this ourselves. And so appreciative of all those that really fought for the 11 acres that we have it. And so for me, that's something that feels so critical. So I'll pause there.
Thank you.
I can jump in. Oh, unless Camille, go right ahead if you're.
Okay. I feel like in this community that Aaron and Porsha and so many others have been building for the last few years, I just not feel safe enough to start to tap into the grief of this lifetime. I have never felt safe or in a space that could hold the ancestors' pain in me. That's what this project means to me and to so many others. Like I can feel the weight of the people who need this.
Before we continue further, I realized that I missed a bit of my own accessibility awareness, and my intention was to invite each of us before we began to share to just say a little bit about your environment, that someone who may not be able to look at their screen or see the screen, that would give them a little bit of an idea. So as we continue forward, please feel free to say your name and just say a few things about visually what's happening in your environment, whether it's like the polka dot bandana that I've got going on with my loose chain or the warmth of the yellow paint in the walls around me. You know, it can be anything in your immediate environment. Feel free to introduce yourself with a little bit of that.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that into the space, BJ. I appreciate that. So when I think about what I'm seeing, to bring you all into my world a little bit, in the background, my children, I can hear them playing and making noise and doing things that children do. My body is tired. I've had the last few days have been a lot. I've been pushing it a lot, and been doing a lot of work that I think will coincide with what we do here. And I'm feeling a little more emotional. I think talking about this work makes me think a lot about my father, makes me think about the sacrifices that he did. I think about how he would wake up 4 o'clock in the morning every day and go to work. He would walk from the ride that he would get back. He would walk from there home so that we can have a car. And I think about that. And so when I think about this work, I think about right now that there's 154 of us here. What I think about is that he made that sacrifice so that today could happen. He did that so that we could have our right mind. So my father never owned land outright in his life. He owned a little bit actually towards the end. But when we think about it, he works his whole life. And if you come to the space, you'll see the 5 acres. And that was the first piece of land that he owned outright. He worked his whole life to get that. Nothing on it, just 5 acres. And I think about what it takes to develop land. And when I think about this project, I think about how my father created a space for us to be safe. He protected us. And he created that space, but the cost of it is his life. And so when I think about that, and I think about myself as a father in creating space and the toll that it takes on me, and to have a space that's controlled by my family, controlled by Black folks, controlled in a way that I can, you know, if I get kicked out of my house right now, to know that there's somewhere that we own is really powerful. When I think about housing for people of color, how it's not designed for us. And if you've been watching the housing market right now, it's even becoming even more unattainable for so many people. And so, so when I think about this space and what it means to me and what this work means to me, what it means is that I have the opportunity to heal from the oppression that I have thus far, and I have the potential to create an environment for my children and their children. So I'm gonna stop right there, but there's so much more. But I just want to, I'm gonna leave it right there.
Received. Thank you. There's something very even more fundamental that I realized is like a question even before that one that rose to the surface as I was listening. And well, there's two. One, I looked around and I saw a lot of Johnsons as last names on here, and I was like, wait, okay, we got some family going on here. There's some more stories just about the relationships of the people on this screen right now that I'm sure many folks here don't even know about. I don't know about. I was even checking the spelling, like, are they related? You know, so there's some basic question that is just, who are you? You know, and also at that same very fundamental level, the name of this project is Grief to Action. And I almost made an assumption, like, well, yeah, duh, like we need grief and then we also need action. But actually, when I think about it, oftentimes, when it comes to the very things that you've named, we tend to spring right into action. It's the solution, it's the analysis and the critical thinking and the what do we need and what's next and how do we build. And oftentimes, grief is not a part of that. So I want to even just come back to the basic question, why that? Why grief? Why do we need grief on our way to action? Yeah, I could ask that in so many ways, but I want to specifically maybe even ask you, Alillia, because of how moved I was by that video. I'm just curious what your thoughts on that are. Why do we need this space specifically for grief in service of action, or just in service of grief for the sake of grieving? You say what you have to say about that.
Thank you, BJ. I appreciate you and your beautiful energy you're bringing to the space and your sensitivity. I am indeed Alillia Johnson, and I want to give a quick visual description before I go forward. I am a brown-skinned, melanated African heritage human with free-form dreadlocks that are curly and framing my face. And I have a few piercings in my nose and my lips, and I've got big silver hoops, and you can see turquoise straps on my shoulders, nicely highlighting my melanin. To answer your question, all of the questions, Aaron and Porsha, who founded Holistic Resistance and Grief to Action are my brother and my cousin. And we grew up near each other for most of our lives. With my siblings definitely in the same house, but I'm saying near each other. Porsha was in and part of our community closely. And this land that we are birthing Grief to Action and a home base for holistic resistance on is land that my parents, my father, worked really hard to have still here and under our control. Lots and lots of sacrifice. And I think the reason, or I know the reasons why grieving is undeniably important on the way to action is that if we do not grieve, it turns to violence. The traumas that we are grieving, the oppressions that we are grieving, the losses we are grieving, if they are not processed, faced, digested, so that the manure can come out and fertilize something life, we are in a paradigm that works on this principle. You plant a seed in the earth and it sprouts, and you can use compost to fertilize that process. And that is exactly what happens emotionally. Grieving gets us that digestion of the trauma in a healthy way, such that the action we can take afterwards is nutritive, is healing, is for and of life and love. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw some folks in the chat really resonating with what you said, and saw a lot of heads nodding throughout as you shared, particularly when you use the metaphor of the manure, that it becomes that fertilizer, that the actions then become healing action. Yeah, I saw a lot of folks really resonating with that. Thank you. Chelsea, what do you think about sharing a little bit about who you are and why grief from your perspective?
Thank you, BJ. I'll just give you all a little backdrop on me. I'm hanging out on the East Coast right now, coming to you live from Silver Spring, Piscataway land. It is 11 o'clock my time, so I'm reaching hard for you all. And I'm a licensed massage therapist. I do somatic work, helping people be in their bodies. I'm a natural builder. My heart is with clay, first and foremost. Some of my motivation to being on this planet is helping house and teach brown folks how to build houses of clay, and is part of the reason why I'm here today. I saw Aaron on Facebook standing on top of an earth dome, and I had to know who he was. And we've been soul family, inseparable ever since. And when I think about grief to action, there's no way to move forward without addressing what has already happened. And one of the ways that we do that is with our bodies and not with our minds. And when I think about the billions of African heritage folks around the planet that need a safe space to grieve, every single person that feels displaced from the land that they actually were born to and removed from, and the documents have been destroyed on purpose, and this life that has been created in every single sector of housing, food, water access, healthcare, you name it, has been pushed against us. To have a place after feeling displaced, that's what grief to action is. And it's a place where we are creating sanctuary with each other, where we can be honest, where we can be real, where we can see one another, where we can hear one another, where we can actually be with the atrocities that have happened on land. The way that we heal what has happened to our people is on land. And like Bryce was saying, it can take folks a lifetime to have access to land. And the fact that, you know, the sacrifices in the Johnson's family has acquired this 11 acres of land is such a blessing. And for them to share it with the global majority and to create this intentional space where folks' bodies can be held and on the earth is one of the biggest blessings I feel like we could give to America. There's nowhere, like Aaron was saying, this is not Googleable. It is now, but it was not Googleable. As somebody who has been on the muddy path, seeking natural building, spending all of my resource, going to different workshop after workshop, land-based projects, trying to get this ancestral knowledge back and being in spaces that were white-owned land. You know, about 2% of the land in this country is owned by minorities collectively. The atrocities that I faced in those spaces, to be able to touch the earth and do earth building with Black folks is the biggest gift to me. And you know, I don't have I don't have any words. I just have feelings. I want to cry. I want to shake. I am shaking, and I can't tell you how much we need this space. As a healer, as a natural builder, as a person from the African diaspora, this place is deeply needed.
Mhm. Thank you for that. Yeah, I saw folks quoting various things you were saying. I mean, that's how much they were landing. And really appreciate you for sharing that. And I want to appreciate once again everybody who's here with us. Like this work, this healing, this place, this opportunity for collective holding of a grief that is so much bigger than any single body can hold. This is becoming real through your support, through your contributions, through your simply being here right now. Even if this is all you do, you are contributing to exactly what it is that we're talking about as necessary. It's not only right on time, but it's overdue. You know what I mean? Like it is overdue, and it's not a coincidence that it has not existed. There's been a reason why, and it takes organizing and building and collectivizing and building people power in order to make it real in the face of so many forces that try to prevent things just like this from happening and have destroyed things like this that did exist. So everybody here right now is a part of such an important moment and an important movement. And I just want to thank you again for being here. And I'm sure some of you have questions that are even more like, well, where is it? You know, more like logistical. You're like, I'm moved. I get it. Like, I'm with you. I'm ready to make it happen. But like, where is it again? And like, wait, what exactly are you doing? So let's make a little bit of space for some of that. I'd love to just open it up for just sharing a bit of the vision of Grief to Action. Where are you at? What are we doing? What's coming to life?
I'm Aaron. We're here. I have a burgundy shirt on. I have a copper backdrop, kind of minimalist. Other than that, I'm darker skinned, African heritage, and I have glasses on. Yeah, we are in Southern California. We have been in Southern California in the Mojave Desert. I think we have something like 150 Joshua trees on 5 acres. Joshua trees they grow an inch a year. They're a sacred, beautiful a tree we have here. What are we doing? I think, you know, we've started the grief process. You know, the camp is not done, and we're grieving in it. We're building and crying at the same time right now. I've been in grief probably solid since January 1st in a very intense way. And so for me, Grief to Action is technically open. You know, Black grief doesn't stop. People of joy doesn't stop. It's always here. And as far as like, I think what we're building, I think what the reason why is what name we're doing natural building is not just something we think is fun. We know that part of grief is to build a relationship back to the earth. get really grounded with the earth. And one thing we know that has been taken from us here in the United States is natural building. So our grief is we want to make sure we resist at every level. We're holistic resistors at heart. So we want to resist in our housing, we want to resist in our grief, we want to resist in our community, we want our sanctuary to resist oppression. And so that's one of the things we're doing. And I think I'll say quickly is that, we're doing grief, we're doing prayer, we're doing song circles, we're doing camp and plant. So we're doing a constant flow of healing. COVID, we're keeping everything very small. But that being said, that's what's happening right now. And we're in a small city. We're on the border of Phelan and Victorville. I'm not going to give the exact address here publicly just because we'll make sure our space is a little bit harder to find, but that's where we're located. And obviously, if you want to come, you can get out to us personally, but we just want to be careful about giving up our exact location because of how we've been targeted. That being said, we welcome everybody here in the crew to get that information through our team and everyone else. But that's where we are. And we've been there for a little over 25 years. And Grief to Action is about 2 years old as far as the vision. So I'll pause there.
Beautiful. We're going to have a little bit more time shortly to get into more of the ways that this is coming to life, specific ways that people can get involved. So I want to just briefly ask for the folks who are here that are already just, feeling that sense of committed. They're already compelled to, in one way or another, continue to support this growing. What do you want them to know about what you need in terms of support? How can people get involved, stay involved, or contribute?
Aaron Johnson again, I'll do it real quick. How you can get involved is first, I think spreading the word. I think everybody that knows somebody that wants to back this is really critical. Even though it feels like we have 100 plus people on this call, I know that it needs to be spread to the right people to know this. Secondly, I think is we have several folks that can come for Camp and Plant. We have constant building projects. Earth building is a community effort, so coming to build. And thirdly is resources, from getting our well dug we want to getting the structures up, and infrastructure around that. That's resources, that's cash, that's skill set, that's lawyers. So we just need to think about everything that oppression wants to get you holistically. We got to resist holistically. So I think if you have any skill, we need it. If you have any heart, we need it. If you have any sustaining power, we need it. But those are the key things that we need right now is the kind of the key thing: shelter, folks to show up physically, people to walk security for us when we're doing the building, to walk the perimeter, people that can show up and cook. So every element of human existence we need, and those key spots are constantly areas we need to fill. And also folks that are grief holders. If you're a grief holder, you're a healer, you're an herbalist, you're a person that knows how to heal the body, we need that too. We need nurses, doctors, we need all those things. So for me, we're hit on every level, we want to resist on every level. So I would say those are key things that we could use today, yesterday, and definitely tomorrow.
Beautiful. If you are hearing this and you already know, like, I want to be a part of this, let us know in the chat right now. Like, let's see. I just want to see some of that energy. Folks saying yes. If you feel it, whether again, it's hands on the land, it's building, it's contributing certain skill sets. Yeah, we look at these yeses already flowing in. Yes. Somebody already said they packing a bag. They were like, you just tell me if I need a tent or a tarp. You just tell me. Yes. So post this event, you will get a follow-up email that's going to have some specific invites for you, ways that you can show up. I know that there's some specific language around some of them. One is the Camp and Plant that they'll be organizing, and just other opportunities for the people who are like, yo, let's go. I'm ready. My bag is packed. Just point me in the right direction. So you'll get more information about that. I want to thank everybody here on the panel. We took a brief moment to hear from everybody, and I really appreciate y'all for sharing a little window into not only what this is, but why we need it, why we've needed it, and also speaking to the lineages, the sacrifices, the love that made it possible even for you to be here and brought this project further into existence. So thank you.
BJ, can I do one more thing?
Yes, please, Porsha.
Thank you so much, BJ. I think the other thing that I was sitting with that I just wanted to add that felt really compelling to my heart is that I feel like a part of the action and building grief to action is to really, we talk about in holistic resistance about the calorie burn, the emotional calorie burn that folks of color are often holding in white dominated spaces and these conversations. And I think a really important piece that we talked about in the context of systemic racism and how that sits on the bodies and how, and reaching for healing, one thing that is also very true is that we have to go back into those systems. And there's these systems that is a part of the hurt and the harm. And then we say, oh, well, pay and go back into the system. And that's how you will get the healing you're seeking. And so one of the things that I have really been sitting with deep conviction and asking for folks here on this call as well, is to be in conversation with me, be in conversation with the team about ways that we can have bridges in the grief to action. For example, if there is mental health support needed for people who are in grief to action, that it's not put on that person that is already in grief to then take the labor to find the therapist or to find what insurance person they have to talk to make sure that they could be able to get the access. That in itself, I can guarantee you, is a part of the oppression in itself, first and foremost, before even trying to get to the healing. And so it is a deep desire of mine that we collectively as a community can think about ways of taking off the labor of people that are already depleted, that are already navigating deep grief, to then be able to get access to healing without having to grieve deeper to get to it. So I just wanted to mention that conversation, and rather if that is energetic, if you are a therapist, if you know of people and resources, you can even reach out to me directly and I can give that information out there, because that's something I'm feeling really passionate about right now, is reducing the labor of those who are seeking the healing.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah, Alillia, I see you too.
I want to add on to what Porsha's saying, that we need access to POC and Black mental health care providers to help us deal with what we're dealing with. Like, so if you know or are such an individual, like, or can sponsor access to such an individual, that's the kind of support we need. Also, to not just mental health support, but like medical health support, like access to naturopathic doctors and chiropractors, because this is not only emotional labor, it's physical labor, and also the emotional shows up in the physical. So if you know POCs in those fields and you can sponsor access to POCs in that field, like that would be monumental support.
Thank you. And already I see some people in the chat, Jessica saying I can help with that. Mayree here saying offering some online therapy. So we've got some folks really responding immediately to that. And again, we're going to have some follow-up emails going out so you can get some direction on how to stay plugged in and how to offer the things that you may have to give and to support not only the project coming to life, but the people and the additional ways that this is coming to life, the ways that healing needs to happen here. And again, bringing it back. Sorry, Bryce, I saw your finger pop up.
You go right ahead. You go right ahead.
Okay, cool. I was going to bring us right back to one way that we know we're bringing some resource together tonight, which is our fundraising. I don't know where the numbers are right now, but I do know what some of the funds are going towards. So I wanted to, again, thank anybody on the panel in case you have something else that you wanted to share, Bryce, of course. Okay.
No, you go right ahead.
And I wanted to invite all of y'all to just extend some appreciation to everybody on our panel, not just for what they shared, but for who they are and what they are helping steward. And you can come off mute to literally say thank you if you'd like to, or drop that in the chat, whatever feels good for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
So much.
Gracias.
We
Love you,
love
love you, love you.
Oh my
So much
God.
love.
Yes. Yes. And I saw some folks putting questions in the chat. We're gonna have a portion of time just for answering some of those questions. So please do hold on to those because we'll come back to them. We can free up our panel if we want to release the spotlight. And I want to share with y'all what your donations are going towards tonight. And if you haven't already clicked on that GoFundMe link, we have some more gifts that we want to give you for the gift that you are giving us. So if we could show the slide that breaks down where the donations, what it makes possible, I'd love to show that to folks real quick. Really, on top, it supports the critical infrastructure, the physical structure of the Grief to Action Camp, as well as supporting the residencies for Black, Indigenous, and people of color at low to no cost. So you can see here that $3,500, which we've already raised, that covers a whole week of a residency at the camp. We've heard about the ways in which it's targeted, and they've already experienced harassment. $1,000 right off top helps just increase the level of security and safety on the land there. We've got a solar panel briefcase, body work sessions. You can look at this list and see whatever gift that you are giving has a very material impact. From the fence repair to the filtered water, everything that you give has a material impact and an emotional impact. So if you haven't already made a gift to Grief to Action Camp, I want to invite you again to either message Ale or click that GoFundMe page. And we have a specific gift right now for the next couple of people who donate $75 or more. Erin has a body tutorial course and a parenting course. So one of those things will go to each of the next two people who donate $75 or more. And Erin, if you want to say a few words about the body tutorial or the parenting course, I'd love to give you a couple minutes to do that right now for anyone who might be interested in donating for that gift.
Totally. Real quickly, I'll just say that our body tutorial course to me is a profound life-changing course. It's been 10 years in the making, and it is shifting my reality, especially as I work with the chronic and untouched. I don't think anyone on this call couldn't benefit from the body tutorial class and it's a pre-recorded course. And it's really breaking down, changing our relationship with ourselves and how we present ourselves to other folks. To me, it's life-saving work, but also is life-enhancing work. The parenting program is intense. I think it's so important for parents, and specifically, we've seen a big impact on white parents that are trying to teach their children sex education, but also sex education with a race lens. Like, we ask yourself the question, how has lynching impacted sex education in America? These are questions I don't see readily talked about in any sex ed program, but it's definitely not with white parents and children. I think it's so critical to ask these kind of questions of what shapes our children's minds. And we have a big investment. We have several courses coming out for all kinds of parent dynamics. And that course to me feels really, really profound when it comes to trying to really introduce a thoughtful education. And to me, I think it's not only this course, but if you could spread that around, because all these courses, every bit of the money goes back to Grief to Action, because we believe in having action behind it. So those are two courses are about. I am passionate about them. They're shifting. And I think to me, the more these questions become normalized, the more we have that kind of deep education for our young folks, and particularly parents that have white parents that aren't even tracking their children that way. I would love to introduce that project to them, help them really drop into what shapes the hearts and minds of our children. We have such love here at Grief to Action and Holistic Resistance for parents and for children. And so I just want to name that. And also, not to be confusing, the picture of me and those two young men are my nephews. They're Bryce's babies. Bryce bought them for this show too. So I parent them from a distance. So y'all like, Aaron got kids. When did that happen? Just in the last 20 minutes. But I appreciate Jay and Trenton for that. Some of y'all might be confused.
Nice. I was asking that too. I was like, hey, you got kids? Nice. Beautiful children. So let's do this. First, thank you to anybody who immediately just went over there and dropped a donation. Whatever amount you're giving is enough. So thank you. We are going to give our bodies a little break for a second. We're in front of our computer screens, many of us, and sitting still for a long time. So we want to have a little DJ break. I'm going to pass it to Leah to put some music on for us. The song you're going to hear is from the Holistic Resistance album, a collection of different artists, movement leaders, activists, healers who have contributed songs and poetry to an incredible collection. So this particular song is from the Peace Poets. Enjoy that. We're going to take a 5-minute DJ break and come back and share some more incredible art with y'all and opportunities to take some good things home with you. So Leah, I'm going to pass it to you to ep it for all of us.
We are hurting, but in this pain we're learning how to love our people from now on. We are growing, finally we are flowing, wild like the rivers from now on. So we are hurting, we are hurting, but in this pain we're learning how to love our people from now on. So we are growing, we are growing, finally we are flowing, wild like the rivers from now on. So we are hurting, we are hurting, but in this pain we're learning how to love our people from now on. We are growing, we are growing, finally we are flowing, wild like the rivers from now on. So we sing with love like we are hurting, but in this pain we're learning how to love our people from now on. Tell the world, 'cause we are growing, finally we are flowing, wild like the rivers from now on. Like we're healing now, say we are hurting, but in this pain we're learning how to love our people from now on. Promising, we are growing, and finally we are flowing, wild like the rivers from now on.
I'm gonna lift you up higher and higher. I'm gonna lift you up and walk by your side. I'm gonna lift you up higher and higher. I'm gonna lift you up and walk by your side. I'm gonna lift you up higher and higher. I'm gonna lift you up and walk by your side. I'm gonna lift you up higher and higher. I'm gonna lift you up and walk by your side. Don't you worry, don't you worry, don't you fret, don't fret. I'll be right there, I'll be right there, next to you, next to you. Don't you worry, don't you please worry, don't forget that I am in this thing with you. So I'm gonna lift you up higher and higher. I'm gonna lift you up and walk by your side. I'm gonna lift you up higher and higher. I'm gonna lift you up and walk by your side. I'm gonna lift you up and walk by your side. I'm gonna lift you up and walk by your side.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Leah, for DJing for us tonight. If you are enjoying the music that you've been hearing, again, that is from the Holistic Resistance. I want to call it like a mixtape. That is something that you can purchase, and the sales of that go to Holistic Resistance and support this beautiful work. We will follow up again with an email with this kind of information, but also we will drop a link right there into the chat for you if you want to take a look at that right now and get a copy of that for yourself. And while you're doing that and while folks are coming back, I just want to shout out that we have been raising some money tonight, y'all. The latest number that we have is $44,854, y'all. Woo! Yes. Now, I want to remind you, we started tonight with a lot of money already raised, but we have almost doubled that. We started tonight with $28,000, and we are on our way to doubling that. We are at $44,854 right now, y'all, and it's because of you, your love, and all of the commitment that is going into this project. So thank you. Let's keep this up. If you have a friend, a family member, a neighbor, a barista in your life who you know needs to know about this, needs to be on board to support this, I want to encourage you immediately to let them know. We are recording this event, so we'll be able to have a copy of this. I don't know that you'll have a copy. I was about to make a promise I don't know if I could keep, but I do know that you've got the link and you can get these songs, and you've got the stories and the experience to go back and share with folks. So I want to encourage you to loop in the folks that you know are going to resonate with this and going to want to be a part of this to help make it come to life. I've been letting folks in my house know. My partner's listening from the other room and is compelled. She's not even here, but she's already ready to tell a few more people herself. So every ripple ripples out. And I thank you in advance for the ways that you will continue bringing in more love and support for Grief to Action. I just can't believe that number. That is $16,000 we've raised tonight. That is $16,000 we have raised tonight just through the power of our collective. That is incredible. Woo-wee. Okay, let's share with you another incredible piece, actually, from one of our sponsors. I want to bring that back. Another thing that has really made tonight a special occasion has been the gifts of the poets and the singers and the musicians. So this next piece that we're going to share with you is from Mayree, a creative facilitator and musician whose work and art lends itself as a tool for redesigning and reconnecting to our roots as humans on this planet. A banjoist, hello, a multi-instrumentalist, a producer, and a vocalist, Hannah is going to share some original and traditional banjo compositions as well as harmonies through acoustic live vocal looping. And Hannah's work really reminds us of the power found in our relationship to the earth, music, and community. They co-founded the Black Banjo Reclamation Project. I don't know why that didn't want to roll off my tongue. The Black Banjo Reclamation Project, and is reclaiming banjo and Black earth-based cultural practices through self-determined and reparation. So a really special treat from Mayree. We're going to show you this video now.
Hi everybody, this is Mayree. I'm here today to play some of my music to support the work of holistic resistance and the building of grief to action and the space that they're physically holding for people of the global majority, particularly Black folks, to grieve and feel and have the unity as a community that we need so badly right now. I want to just take a moment to tell you a little bit about a project that I helped start, that I'm part of, the Black Banjo Reclamation Project. And the reason why it's so important for me to speak on this is because when it comes to healing in the Black community, we are growing and healing from so much that has been deliberately taken from us. And this includes music, this includes a lot of cultural aspects. With many people, these things have not been lost, but with so many of us, part of the diaspora, we're grieving the loss of what it is that's been taken from us, and we're taking the necessary actions to make sure that we are in stewardship of these ancestral tools that are very important for our healing, such as music and playing the banjo, which is an African-rooted instrument. So I really look forward to the time that I'm able to spend in a healing space with other people that look like me and people of the global majority, so that we can continue to reclaim and cherish and grow in our cultural traditions.
Beautiful. So that was a quick intro, and here is the song.
The windy smoking slips of me, and I'm reminded how to breathe. The polar shifting seasons, the memos from the heavens, the falling leaves like stars and trees, will surely bless me unwittingly, and maybe we'll exist in another time. Today is clear and bright, but despite the smog and irreverent air, I decide to disband my head and just feel, for it's not just this vessel that came to be, it's a churning vacuum of energy. I can't stand for anything other than, dare I say, a feeling of meaning. It's just my soul coming out to play with a universe that pretends to extend. This bubble is expanding into the depths it grows. This is the plight of all aliens lost in space. Sing with me one time. One more time. I'm like a hen, I wanna lay all day, crashing and walking in the same old hay. Everywhere I go, I wanna stay. My wings they clip, but they can't fly away. Rooster crows wake me up in the morning, keep me in time with a gray fire burning. Sun cast shadows and we cast stars on the moon. They're playing tricks and it spins round the trail. Life can be fun and life can be free. This world is a chicken coop, so run around is fine with me. I love familiar places and the great unknown. I love all these sensations cause my head's still on. Wanna settle down like those before me have. Wanna find a place that I can call my promised land. Maybe I'll be a wife, maybe I'll have some kids. Just wanna find somewhere I can put my hands in. I like it, I wanna lay all day, scratching and squawking in the same old hay. Now everywhere I go, I wanna stay. My wings ain't clear, but I ain't gonna fly away. My wings ain't clear, but I ain't gonna fly away. My wings ain't clear, but I ain't gonna fly away.
Yo, make some noise. Yo.
Wow.
Yes.
Hannah Mayree blessed us with that one. I mean, all that I can feel like rising up in me is just an awareness that we have what we need right here, y'all. We are such a first of all, we are just so beautiful. Also, we have what we need right here. We have what we need right here. So let's continue forward, building, conjuring with what we have right here. I want to thank one more time just sponsors in general. You've gotten to see the folks who contributed their art, their music, but I also have a slide just to show you other sponsors who made tonight possible. East Point Peace Academy, Kazuhaga over there doing some really incredible work in and outside of cages. We've got the work that reconnects, making space for honoring pain and the lineage of Joanna Macy, Weaving Earth, 350 Seattle throwing down. You're going to see organizations here that you both know and don't know. Orion, I noticed you were in the chat. So we've got a sponsor here with us tonight, Orion Montoya. Shout out to you. Thank you for your support. Wild Mountain Retreats, World Muse, Spork, Moda Yoga Seattle, and Beyond Boundaries. Want to just thank everybody who sponsored tonight. And I have an agenda. Here's the thing. I know that agendas always get broken, and like what you think is going to happen isn't usually what happens. So sometimes I end up being the one to break my own plans. And that's what I'm going to do, because I really think we need one more song in the mix before we come back to the funds status and to raising what I think might be the last portion of the money we have tonight. So one of my favorite melodic collective beings, Mamuse, has also gifted us with a beautiful piece tonight. I'm going to say a few words and do so slowly so that you have some time to queue up that video since I switched up the flow. I already said harmonic. Mamuse is uplifting. Mamuse is bringing that folk soul revival. I think it was the banjo that made me just want to keep going with it. Mamuse, as many of you know, is wholeheartedly fed by the folk and the gospel traditions. Mamuse is made up of Sarah Nutting and Carisha Longacre. They create really uplifting music, honestly, and I've heard so many groups like remix and continue to sing their songs in their own ways, make them their own. I hope that this song that you get to hear is something that sticks with you, that continues to just vibrate in your being, that you find yourself singing after tonight in your own way. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to the Mamuse song.
Hello to the people of the wild, wild world. So happy to be here today. So honored to be here today.
Yes.
For our dear ones, our dear kin of holistic resistance. Thank you so much for showing up, and thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here too. To be in connection and in song nation together. Sarah's got a song that came through. Tell us.
Well, this song, We Are Here, You Can See the Land Where We Are. It's the unceded land of the Southern Pomo and Coastal Miwok peoples. And we had a workshop here with Holistic Resistance this past July. And so much inspiration and song and goodness and learning came out of that time together. And this song just kind of poured through the last evening that we were all together. We hope you enjoy, and please, please feed this beautiful organization, Holistic Resistance. They are doing so much good work. Their wings are outstretched, touching so many communities, and they're some of our dearest people.
Big reach.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. My body is tired, but my mind can rest. So much to learn, so much to digest. The way is open and there's a willingness to change. Holistic resistance, may I see what you see. Holistic resistance, hand in hand we will walk free. So let's slow it down and sing out loud. Hearts unbound, we're reaching out. Holistic resistance, may I see what you see. Holistic resistance, hand in hand we will walk free. Hand in hand we will walk free. We're holistically resisting the plot that is existing to keep aggressions living in our bodies and our homes. Holistically resisting the ways that we are missing each other by the color of the skin upon our bones. Holistically resisting the time that is persisting to take our lives too fast before we ever get to know each other and the gardens that we sow. Holistic resistance, may I see what you see. Holistic resistance, hand in hand we will walk free. Holistic resistance, may I see what you see. Holistic resistance,
love you, people. We love you, Aaron, Porsha, Jenny, Dylan. Thank you so much for doing the good work. Thank you for all the other hands and hearts that hold holistic resistance. May you keep blooming, keep growing, keep touching hearts and connecting bodies and minds. Thank you. Big reach. Yeah, you got the big reach.
Yes.
Wow, beautiful.
Oh, great. Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Beautiful. That was so good. Yes. Y'all, we are in the last 11 minutes of our moment together, but just in the beginning of a longer story that we're obviously here to write together. And in these last moments, I want to make some space for one, just acknowledging that we had more planned than what we really had time for. So we thought we were gonna have a whole Q&A rolling out. We had some books we wanted to give away, but again, the way the spirit works, you know, you already know. So with that acknowledgement, I also want to first just thank the folks who put tonight together. All the energy that you poured into inviting folks here, to closed captioning, to DJing, to rolling out slides for us, to planning the agenda, to praying for our night. Everybody who put your love, your heart, your spirit into tonight, I want to thank you and allow everybody here to just notice the appreciation and gratitude that you have for the experience over the last couple of hours that these folks made possible. Just notice that, just feel it. Yeah, let it pulse in you. And we are going to do two things before we leave tonight. One, we did want to have a period of time that was just to ask some questions. So what I want to do is I want to invite you to drop those questions into the chat. If there were questions that you arrived with that didn't get answered in our time together, go ahead and drop those into the chat. That's going to give us some direction on some of the things that we might follow up with after this event. We might even have enough time to ask and answer a question before we leave tonight. So go ahead, if there are questions that you've had, please do feel free to share those in the chat. The other thing that we're going to do before we leave is we are going to check back in on how much we have raised, and we are going to celebrate, y'all. So I've got my shaker right here. I don't know what you have near you, but I want to invite you to just take a moment to grab something that's going to help you celebrate what we have done together tonight, all right? Whether it's a clapper, you might have a plastic bag that you could shake, you might have a candle to light, whatever it is, take a second and just grab something. It might be a bag of edamame you shake. I don't know what it is, okay? But get it, because we're going to celebrate. All right, take a second and grab that. And again, in the meantime, others who may have questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. Cool. And Aliko, I know that you were one of the question holders. So as folks are gathering their celebratory instruments, Aliko, want to give a few minutes for us to just ask and answer one question before we begin to close.
Yeah, totally. I Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm Aliko. I'm here with Lux and Bex and Ariel. And Aaron, I have a question for you, but also I hear some folks in the chat and I hear some folks saying that if possible, they could stay a little bit longer, like 10 or so minutes, people would be really excited about that. So I'm just gonna put it out there, but I know you're good with your time boundaries. And yeah, I just wanted to share that as well. Aaron, I have one question for you. We were supposed to have a whole question session where I was going to answer some questions from people, but I wanted to ask you a question personally because I love asking you questions. And I thought it'd be exciting to do in front of all these people. But lately I've been studying the rise of capitalism in middle-aged Europe and something called primitive accumulation, which is a Marxist term, which is the 4 things that's really needed for capitalism to take a stronghold on society. And those 4 things are land expropriation, so the privatizing of land, control of women and bodies, the colonies of America, colonization, and the construction of differences. My question for you is, how do you live your life deconstructing differences? And how can we all on this call bring the deconstruction of differences into our lives, especially as it relates to a factor on why capitalism has taken such a strong hold on our culture?
Oh, thank you, Aliko. Yes, talk about dropping bombs here at 5 minutes remaining.
Oh, for real.
I'll just say in 2 minutes, one of the things I noticed, which is huge, is that one of the most powerful things we can do that is not built in us in America, our culture, is listening. And I say this a lot if you're in my workshop, because I find that if you're going to have a difference built between any kind of boundaries, okay, if it's gender or race, they have to get rid of our ability to listen. And if you can go to the top universities, I would say this to every workshop almost, like you go to the best universities in the United States and say, guide me to the listening department. They don't have a listening department. They have a mass communications. I say that because that's education, that's also trickling down to our families, to our younger schools, is that we have lost the ability to really hear each other. And for me, I think when I look at what's happening, all this thing is here happening right now tonight is because there's a listening. There's a patience, deep listening. And I always say not just listening with the ears, but literally listening with the entire body. And I find, to me, one of the things I do on a regular basis, as much as I love questions, the practice of listening makes the questions land in the heart and make it transform us. And so for me, I think if anything I can do quickly is say, we get down and meditate deeply and go, how can I listen even when it's hard to listen? And I think that is one of the most, not I say easiest, it's one of the most accessible things that we can do. And not just with our ears, but listen with our entire bodies. Thank you, Lika, for that question. That was powerful.
Beautiful. I think y'all might have just planted the seed for like a whole separate event that is just questions with Aaron. You know, I'm just gonna put that out there. We also have some questions coming through in the chat, and again, thank you for dropping those, because that really does give us some guidance in ways that we can follow up with more helpful information for you all. You know what to do at this point. You know you're throwing down with us. You know you're supporting. We're going to give you some opportunities for ways that you can do that, either on the land or by contributing other skills or resources. You know, bringing in friends, fam, neighbors, whoever into this community is another way that you can support. But the last way is so important, and that is celebrating what it is that we have already done and that which we will do. We know that that's an important part of manifesting this dream into being. So I'm going to invite everybody here to gather whatever thing you grabbed to celebrate. And I'm going to ask that Leah or Ale share with us our final number for tonight. And I just want us all to, like, truly from the soles of our feet up, fully celebrate all that we have done tonight together. All right? And after that, we're going to send everybody off with a beautiful finishing song from Shireen, who I will introduce when we're done, and that will be our night. So grab your thing, either Leah or Ale, please let us know what we raised.
All right, Ale, unless you know better than me, it is $47,569, everybody.
Yes, it's I hear some accordions out there. Yes. That was really like a lot of different instruments, actually. I love that. Beautiful, y'all.
Beautiful.
Please continue to spread the word. Please continue to share the link with those that you love. Aaron, Porsha, Alillia, who else was on that panel? We had Chelsea, we had Bryce, we had Camille. Thank you all for continuing to steward the land, continuing to hold the legacy of your family and opening that to us all. Thank you for your commitment to the deep collective processing of grief that is bigger and greater than any of us know how to hold. But thank you for the invitation for us to experiment, to lean into it, to not be afraid of what has felt impossible, but to be creative in the face of it, to be holistic in the face of it. Thank you for your invitation. We are all deeply grateful, deeply, deeply grateful, and we will continue to listen, and we will continue to show up. And with that, y'all, we're going to send you off with a beautiful, beautiful song from our dearest Shireen, who is a singer-songwriter, performer. I mean, I also think just like a stylish human being, like fly, teaching artist based out of Portland. And this song that you're going to hear is one that came to life on the land, where grief to action is coming into physical shape on land. This song is the song that keeps the work and the labor and the grief and the love flowing. So thank you, Shireen, for bringing the gift of your voice here with us. And thank you, everybody, for attending tonight. We love you and enjoy.
Hello! First of all, thank you for being here. Let me tell you how this song came to be. After a long road trip, I made an unplanned stop at the land of holistic resistance. An intended day or two turned into one transformational week. I'd never done earth building before, and on one of my last days, it was my job to concoct the right moisture level of the soil for building. Aaron says it's supposed to roll in your hand in this perfect dang it, it's too wet here. As I was turning the soil and getting that intuitive sense of when it was ready, a little melody started to come to me. We got good soil, good soil. I started singing it out loud, and Aaron Johnson, who was up there loading up bags of soil on the dome, and my friends Alina and Ryder and I started making up verses. They were pretty directly instructional, because Aaron was saying the earth building community doesn't have that many songs. So we were like, yeah, we're gonna make one. It's so important to note that this song is drawing from an African American song form called the work song. Except instead of coming from a need for survival in involuntary conditions, this song is coming from a conscious desire to build a regenerative future. Know what I'm saying? So please sing along with the chorus, and I'll also line out the verses and you can sing along with those too. When in doubt, just follow my backup singers. Dressed like me! Side note, the particular earth dome we were building is now fully built. I've already had the chance to pray in it, grieve in it, and even cuddle in it. So may this song be a prayer for the rising of more earth domes and a celebration for grief to action. Here we go. Good soil. Oh, 1, 2, 3, we got good soil. Good soil. Soil to build a dome. We got good soil. good, good soil. Soil to build a home. Not too wet, not too dry. Soil to build a dome. Not too wet, not too dry. Soil to build a home. We gotta weave the wire to hold it all together. Soil to build a dome. We gotta weave the wire to hold it all together. Soil to build a home. Feed the line one bucket at a time. Soil to build a dome. Feed the line one bucket at a time. Soil to build a home. We got good soil, good, good soil. Soil to build a dome. We got good soil, good, good soil. Soil to build a home. Pound the earth so thick till it's hard as a brick. Soil to build a dome. Pound the earth so thick till it's hard as a brick. Soil to build a home. Check where you are, don't forget the rebar. Soil to build a dome. Check where you are, don't forget the rebar. Soil to build a home. We got good soil, good, good soil. Soil to build a dome. We got good soil, good, good soil. Soil to build a home. With our prayers and hands, we raise it up from the land. Soil to build a dome. With our prayers and hands, we raise it up from the land. Soil to build a home. We got good soil, good, good soil. Soil to build a dome. We got good soil, good, good soil. Soil to build a home. Soil to build a home. Soil to build a home.
Yeah, Shireen, I see you out there, yo. Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Thank you for that. So much love to you, Shireen. I want to leave us with just one last thing. We started tonight $32,000 away from our goal, which was $60,000. We started off $32,000 away from that goal. We are now just hovering right around $10,000 now away from that goal. So much has happened in these 2 hours. And that last leg, we are going to make that. And it is through joyfully celebrating this experience and telling folks about it. So please, don't keep it to yourself. Don't keep this to yourself at all. Please tell folks around you about this opportunity, about this project. Bring them in and help us reach that $60,000 goal. I have so much love for all of you for being here tonight. 113 of you are still here. Thank you for everything it took to be here tonight. We're going to follow up with more resources, links, ways to be involved. And again, a big thank you. If you've in any way supported tonight, and you all know who you are, again, closed captioning, DJing, slides, the agenda, music. If you could just make yourself known, put a hand up, wave at everybody. We just want to see you so we can thank you. And if y'all want to just show some love to everybody, please feel free to in the chat or come off mute. I see Bubbles over there. being blown. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It takes
Thank you.
Thank you, y'all. Have a beautiful night. Have a beautiful weekend. And this is just the beginning.